Hello and good morning from Europe. This is Ahura and we'll be with you with the daily market updates. Today is September 3 and Wednesday. Let's first check what we had so far today and also yesterday. The data that we had, it shows that yesterday, let's start from yesterday's data. Spanish unemployment rate was in the Spanish unemployment actually raising August, but the unemployment rate didn't change. Italian unemployment rate fell to 6%. Eurozone unemployment rate fixed. What's going on here? Yeah, sorry. I was thinking Eurozone unemployment rate fell to 6.2% from previous 6.3%. Italy's producer price index or PPI grew slightly. Eurozone inflation steady at around 2%, 2.3% for core CPI and 2.1% for headline. German 2 years auction, the short term, but better we say in general, the German short-term bond yields increased. We should take care about slightly more about the German's inflation and better to say that interest rate expectations slightly increasing. So that's the underlying concerns about when we are talking about the underlying concerns about the inflation. That's what one of those numbers that we have to talk about and we have to think and take care about that. U.S. manufacturing PMI slightly increased by missed expectations. U.S. S&P Global Manufacturing PMI at 52. The increase at 53 is below than 53.3 expectations, but amazing in jump from previous 49.8. It's increased to 53 from previous 49.8, but it was slightly less than 53.3 expectations. ISM manufacturing PMI for United States shows that the ISM manufacturing at 48.7 below the expectations, but slightly above 48 on previous month. Employment index in ISM surveys slightly weaker than expectations even in the previous month. And in new orders, on the other side, increased from 47 to 51.4. Generally, the data shows that the manufacturing sector, even though it's increasing, but still under pressure. Today, we're going to have service sector data. We will see how it's going on. According to the other economies, service sector should be in the United States also better than expected in previous months. The U.S. economic optimism, optimism index, which is shown by IBD, slightly fell, not slightly, even more than slightly, dropped to 48.7 from previous 50.9, while it was expected to increase to 51.8. These data, even the 48.7 is lower than the 12 months average. 12 months average is 50.5, and it's the lowest level since late 2023. So that shows that the economic optimism is not going fully good in United States. Even the consumer confidence also for the fifth consecutive month, even if I don't mistake, is under 50 expansions area. No, under 100 expansions area for CBI consumer confidence index, which is measuring by 100 at 98, 97. These numbers are showing that the consumer confidence and consumer expectation and business expectations are not giving us such a good and bright data. Even thought this. However, that's really mixed. While the expectations, confidence are not showing good numbers, but still the retail sales improving. That's amazing. And unemployment rate is fine, acceptable. And inflation also is all the data slightly mixed about the U.S. economy. These mixed data, from when we are talking about the mixed data, we should be clear about really the market reactions. Sometimes these mixed data can cause a crash in the market because finally the consumers and investors, they're going to lose their trust on the data. Not because that the government or the offices or any publishing data, they are giving us a false data. No, because that the different part of the economies, they are not moving smoothly. That's one of the things that we have to be clear about. Atlanta Fed GDP now tracker also fell to 3% from previous 3.3% for the third quarter. South Korea's reserves slightly eased FX reserve, while the GDP expectations and GDP growth in the second quarter moved. Fine. Australian PMI data shows that the stronger service sector, same as other data, in the second quarter also, GDP beat the expectations in Australia, showing a better number. Japanese service sector slightly increased, but I mean, from 51.9 to 52, slightly increased, but composite PMI, but not such a, I mean, with the big numbers. Service sector increased to 53.1. Above 52.7 in July. In August, I mean, the July number was 52.7. The market could beat the expectation and increase to 53.1, but generally the composite is about 52. New Zealand commodity price index slightly rebounded. Again, underlying concerns about the inflation. Chinese service PMI increased amazingly, 53 for the stocks and service PMI, from previous 52.6. Not big jump, but still at the 53 shows a very good number. Indian service PMI missed expectations, but still again increased at 62.9. It was up from previous 60.5, increased to 62.9. Even thought the market was expecting to see that at 65.6. Generally, the data shows that the economic growth in India, I mean, in India is fine, and we can still count on that. Several times we talk about the condition that we can see in India and the opportunities that we can see in Indian economy and Indian market. Today, so far, that was the data we had. Also, Turkish inflation slightly showed us slightly weaker than previous months, but slightly more than at the same time. The inflation data for both PPI and CPI, they were slightly more than expectations, but still we can see that that inflation is falling compared with the previous months. GDP increased amazingly in the second quarter. Inflation is still sticky at 2%. Annual inflation is around 33% in Turkey. Mixed data showing the economic growth and inflation numbers showing that we can see some improvements, but we should be curiously slightly more cautious about the Turkish economy and need to have more data. In South Africa, we can see S&P Global Manufacturing fell to 50.1 from previous 50.3. Later today, we're gonna have the more service purchasing managers index numbers from different economies across the world, especially in the Eurozone and then in the United Kingdom. And also we're gonna have the service numbers in Eurozone we already had. From United States, we're gonna have it tomorrow. About the US, we will talk about that. Let's talk about other economies. Then we're gonna go to the United States. From Eurozone, also we're gonna have today's PPI numbers, producer price index numbers. But in Brazil, we're gonna have the industrial numbers in United States, and we're gonna have the service sector PMI in Brazil as well. Let's talk about the US. In United States, it's going to be very busy day. We will have several important data, including the mortgage rate expected to slightly fall from the previous week. Actually, we were expecting to see the mortgage rates down from 6.68% to 6.67, but it's increased to 6.69. For this week, we are expecting to see that mortgage rate to fall by 0.1 or 0.2 by 1 or 2 points, which means that 6.68 or 6.67. That's our expectations, which means in that case, we can see the applies for the mortgage rate applications also can increase. Later, we're going to have the Red Book. The Red Book is very important in the United States. It's going to give us some more data about the ongoing economic condition in the United States across the 12 different economic areas in the US. 2 weeks before Fed meeting can give us more data, not just for us, for Fed members also, and help them for better decision. Durables excluding transportation should increase slightly in July by 1 point. I mean the late it's the final data. We had already the primer data, which increased by 1.1%. We can see that the primer can we confirm the primer data as well or not. Excluding defense orders, I mean durable goods orders excluding defense can fall by 2.5%. But the factory orders, which is expected to increase to fall by 1.3% in previous months, fell by 4.8%. And GLTs, we are expecting to see 7,380,000 unfilled jobs, vacations, slightly less than previous month. And yeah, that's the most important data we have to take care about the United States. As all Tuesday, we're supposed to have the API numbers, but since the Monday was holiday United States, the API will be published today, which is the Wednesday, and the official inventory numbers will be published tomorrow for oil and oil trader. They should be clear about that. Let's check the market. Generally, the data, as a data that what we expect to see, the data is supposed to shows that service sector is still improving, and that can be supportive for the US dollar. At the same time, we're getting closer to the labor market data today, tomorrow. We're gonna have the more data for today, and then initial numbers for unemployment benefits, unemployment. Yeah, gonna be on Thursday, and then the NFP numbers on Friday. All these data can confirm that it can give us about more data about the labor market. But markets expecting slightly better number that can support the increasing the risk in the market and help the US dollar index to jump again or increase again above 98, while the gold is holding still 2,500 area. Gold is still strong, even if the US dollar gets stronger and make some correction in the gold, but still in the bigger picture, gold and silver both are strong and going forward. Gas also increasing above $3, 3.11. Oil price slightly fell. We talk about that at the end of the summer demand and overall higher output in the market or supply in the market cannot support the higher prices. Stock markets falling, even thought after yesterday's shortfall. Today prices getting slightly better, but generally the stock market is under pressure for all main indexes. As for the cryptocurrency market, the Bitcoin holding about 109,000 at 110, almost 111, and as long as it's trading about 109K, it's uptrend and going forward. This is a market condition and the data and our expectation. Hope it was useful for you. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Well, not very well with your computer. I don't know it.